When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is to strike back, to defend yourself, prove your worth, and make them feel what you felt. But that's exactly how you lose control. The moment you let anger lead, you hand your power to the person who provoked you. Disrespect isn't really about the words spoken. It's about how much of yourself you give away in response. You can't stop people from being rude, unfair, or ungrateful, but you can stop giving them control over your peace of mind. Strength isn't in shouting louder, it's in standing taller. The calm one always wins. The one who knows their worth never needs to argue for it. When someone disrespects you, remember this: your reaction defines you more than their words ever could. Let your composure do the talking. Let your silence speak your confidence. Because when you rise above disrespect, you prove that no one has the power to pull you down without your permission. This isn't about ego, it's about dignity. It's about learning how to protect your peace, your worth, and your focus in a world that constantly tries to test them. Lesson 1. Don't react emotionally. Respond intelligently. When someone disrespects you, your emotions will try to take over. You'll feel that spark, the heat in your chest, the rush in your mind, pushing you to say something, fight back, make them regret it. But here's the truth: the moment you react emotionally, you hand them your power. You let their behavior control your state. And that's exactly what small-minded people want: to see you lose control. You can't win by reacting to everything that offends you. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the calmest. It's the one who feels the same anger, the same insult, but chooses to pause before responding. That pause, that moment of control, is where your real strength lives. Emotional reactions are expensive. They cost you peace. They cost you respect. And sometimes they cost you opportunities. When you lash out, you're not thinking clearly. You're not defending yourself. You're just feeding someone else's ego. But when you respond with intelligence, you shift the balance. You move from emotion to strategy. You keep your composure while others lose theirs. And that's how you win without saying a word. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every insult deserves an answer. People who try to provoke you do it because they crave a reaction. They want to feel powerful by making you feel small. But if you stay calm, if you look them in the eye and respond with quiet confidence, you remind them that you can't be shaken. You remind them that you're not on their level. Responding intelligently doesn't mean staying silent forever. It means choosing your words when your mind is clear, not when your heart is boiling. Sometimes the smartest response is none at all, and sometimes it's a firm, measured statement that sets the record straight without losing your dignity. The goal isn't to win the argument, it's to protect your energy. You win when you don't let their disrespect drag you down. You win when you refuse to let anger write your story. Because once you master your reaction, you master yourself. So the next time someone tries to get under your skin, remember this: breathe, pause, and think. Don't let their words pull you into a place that costs you your peace. Keep your tone steady. Keep your mind clear. Because while they're reacting emotionally, you're already thinking 3 steps ahead. That's how real power works. Not in noise, but in control. Not in emotion, but in intelligence. When you respond with wisdom instead of impulse, you don't just protect your dignity. You command respect without even asking for it. Hold your ground. Let your calm be your armor. Let your composure be your message. Because in a world full of people who react, you'll stand out as the one who responds. Lesson 2. Let silence speak louder than anger. When someone disrespects you, silence often says more than any argument ever could. Anger makes noise, but silence creates presence. Anger tries to prove a point, but silence proves control. When you stay quiet in the face of disrespect, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to know that not every insult deserves your energy. The instinct to defend yourself is natural. The urge to respond, to shout, to put someone in their place, that's human. But think about this. Has shouting ever changed a small-minded person's opinion? Has anger ever made a disrespectful person actually respect you? The truth is, when you fight with fools, you end up looking like one. Silence, on the other hand, exposes them. It leaves them standing in their own noise while you walk away with your peace intact. Silence is powerful because it's unexpected. People who thrive on disrespect feed off your reaction. They want to see you break. They want to watch you lose your calm. But when you stay composed and respond with stillness, you deny them what they want most, your attention. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their own immaturity back at them. Let me be clear, though. Silence doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect forever. It doesn't mean you stay quiet out of fear. It means you choose your moments wisely. You're not silent because you're afraid to speak. You're silent because you've already decided that your peace is more valuable than their opinion. You're silent because you know your worth doesn't require defending. In a world where everyone is constantly trying to prove something, silence has become rare. And that's exactly why it's powerful. It unsettles people who rely on chaos. When you don't give them the reaction they expect, they lose their grip. Your calmness confuses them. Your restraint frustrates them. And your silence leaves them powerless. There's a saying, never wrestle with pigs. You'll both get dirty, and the pig will enjoy it. That's exactly what arguing with disrespectful people does. It drags you into a battle that isn't worth fighting. When you stay silent, you step out of that arena entirely. You let your maturity be your statement. You let your dignity do the talking. Silence also gives you time to see things clearly. Anger blinds you, but silence allows reflection. It gives you space to decide whether that person even deserves a response. Because sometimes silence isn't just a reaction, it's a filter. It helps you separate who deserves your voice from who doesn't. And here's the deeper truth. Silence protects your energy. Every time you react to negativity, you feed it. But when you stay still and detached, it dies on its own. You're not running away. You're rising above. You're choosing the high ground, not because you're afraid to fight, but because you know the fight isn't worth your time. Some people won't understand your silence. They'll mistake it for weakness or arrogance. Let them. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your peace. Because silence doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means what you could say isn't worth the cost. So the next time someone tries to disrespect you, don't rush to defend your name. Don't trade your composure for a moment of satisfaction. Stand tall, stay calm. Let the silence hang in the air. Because silence carries a weight that words never will. When your silence carries confidence, it speaks volumes. It says, You can't shake me, you can't define me, you don't control me. And in that moment you reclaim all your power without ever saying a word. Lesson 3. Know your worth. Never argue for it. The moment you start arguing for your worth, you've already forgotten it. You never need to convince anyone of your value. People who truly see it will never question it, and those who question it are not meant to stay in your life. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Your respect should never be a debate. Disrespect often tries to trick you into defending yourself. Someone says something to belittle you, to make you prove who you are, and you feel the pull to explain, to justify, to prove them wrong. But understand this: when you argue with small minds, you shrink yourself to fit inside their limited view of you. When you chase validation, you lose self-respect. You don't have to prove anything to anyone who doesn't value you. The only person you need to convince is the one in the mirror. Know who you are, and let that be enough. The people who doubt you aren't doing it because you're lacking. They do it because they can't handle your confidence. They see strength in you that threatens their weakness. They see light in you that reminds them of their own darkness. So when someone disrespects you, don't lower yourself to prove them wrong. Show them through consistency, through character, through calmness. The loudest proof of your worth is your results. You don't argue with doubters. You outgrow them. You let your success speak while you remain grounded and focused. Knowing your worth means understanding that your time, your energy, and your peace are priceless. Not everyone deserves access to them. You don't need to stay where you're not respected. You don't need to keep explaining your intentions to people who twist your words. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It means you've finally learned to stop begging for the respect you've already earned. When you know your worth, you stop settling for half-effort relationships, one-sided loyalty, and conditional respect. You stop making excuses for people who constantly cross your boundaries. You stop trying to prove to others that you're good enough, because deep down you already know you are. The world will always test your self-worth, through rejection, through betrayal, through silence. But each test is a reminder not to fight harder for their approval, but to stand stronger in your truth. You have to be so rooted in your self-respect that no insult can shake it. Never forget this. People treat you the way you allow them to. If you let someone talk to you like you don't matter, they'll believe you don't. But when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you stop explaining and start demonstrating, the world begins to adjust its tone. You teach others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Your worth doesn't decrease because someone can't see it. Their blindness doesn't define your value. You define it every day, by the way you speak to yourself, the standards you uphold, and the limits you set. So stop arguing for your worth. Stop proving yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Move in silence. Build with purpose. Stay grounded in your value, because real confidence doesn't need validation. When you truly know your worth, disrespect loses its power. You don't react, you recognize. You don't chase, you choose. And that quiet, unshakable certainty becomes your greatest defense against anything or anyone trying to make you forget who you are. Lesson 4. Set boundaries without seeking approval. One of the most powerful forms of self-respect is setting boundaries and standing by them without needing anyone's permission. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about protecting your peace, your values, and your energy. Without them, you'll find yourself constantly drained, misunderstood, and taken for granted. Boundaries don't make you cold, they make you clear. Every time you let something slide that doesn't feel right, you teach others that it's okay to cross the line. Every time you say yes when your heart says no, you chip away at your own self-respect. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. It's understanding that not everything deserves your attention, not everyone deserves your access, and not every fight deserves your effort. You don't need to justify your boundaries. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. People who genuinely respect you won't be offended when you set limits. They'll understand because they have their own. But those who get angry when you create boundaries are often the ones who benefited most from you having none. When you set a boundary, you're not saying, "I don't care about you." You're saying, "I also care about me." That's not pride. That's maturity. People don't always mean to disrespect you. Sometimes they just test how much you'll tolerate. And if you never draw the line, they'll keep pushing, not because they're evil, but because you trained them to. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. Without them, you'll attract relationships that drain you, workplaces that undervalue you, and situations that break your spirit. Setting boundaries takes courage. It takes real inner strength to say, "This behavior is not acceptable," and mean it. You may lose some people when you do this, but those are exactly the ones you needed to lose. The right people don't leave because of your standards, they rise to meet them. Boundaries also require consistency. It's not enough to draw the line once. You have to enforce it every time it's crossed. You can't say you don't tolerate disrespect and then keep letting it happen. Every time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce your worth. Setting boundaries will make some people uncomfortable, especially those used to benefiting from your silence. But that's not your problem to solve. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to protect your peace. Boundaries are a form of teaching. You teach others what's acceptable by what you allow. You teach them how to value you by how you value yourself. And over time, your calm confidence will do the talking. You won't have to raise your voice, beg, or defend. Your energy will make it clear. So don't apologize for protecting your time, your energy, or your heart. The more you practice boundaries, the lighter you'll feel, and the more respect you'll naturally command. Because boundaries are not about keeping people out, they're about keeping your peace in. And once you learn that, you'll stop asking for permission to stand tall in your own life. Respect isn't demanded through force, it's earned through clarity, consistency, and courage. Lesson 5. Don't chase respect. Command it through your behavior. Respect isn't something you chase, it's something you earn through your presence, your consistency, and your conduct. The moment you start begging for respect, you lose it. Because true respect doesn't come from shouting louder or constantly proving yourself. It comes from the quiet strength of knowing who you are and living like it every single day. You don't have to demand respect when you carry yourself with dignity. People feel it. They sense it in the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you handle yourself under pressure. Respect flows naturally to those who respect themselves. It's not about what you say, it's about how you show up. The mistake many people make is thinking they can earn respect through confrontation. They believe putting others in their place will make them look strong, but shouting doesn't make you strong. Composure does. Revenge doesn't make you powerful. Discipline does. When someone disrespects you, they're trying to pull you down to their level. If you take the bait, you become exactly what they expected. But when you remain calm, when you keep your standards high, you show them something they can't touch: self-control. Real strength isn't about reacting. It's about rising. It's about leading yourself with integrity, even when no one's watching. It's about treating others with respect, not because they deserve it, but because you do. When you choose to stay gracious, even when others are rude, you send a clear message. You cannot influence how I behave. My standards are not negotiable. Respect comes from reliability. When you do what you say, when you stay honest, even when it's hard, when you keep your word even when no one would know if you didn't, that's when people begin to trust you. And trust is the foundation of respect. You don't have to prove you're important. Just keep doing the right thing long enough, and your results will speak louder than your words ever could. That's how you command respect, by example, not by ego. Think of it this way. A lion doesn't roar to prove it's the king. It doesn't chase opinions. It doesn't react to every bark around it. It moves with quiet confidence. It knows what it is. And that's exactly how you should live. Here's the text, rewritten in simpler, more straightforward language with music removed. Your confidence doesn't need validation. Your peace doesn't need permission. The fastest way to lose respect is to start seeking it from people who don't value you. The fastest way to gain it is to live by principles that never change: honesty, humility, and consistency. The people who truly matter will see it. The rest don't need to. When you command respect through behavior, you don't have to raise your voice. Your actions do the talking. You don't have to chase recognition. Your discipline makes it undeniable. You don't have to explain your worth. Your presence makes it clear. So stop trying to convince people to treat you better. Show them why they should. Be calm when others are chaotic. Be steady when others are reckless. Be respectful even when others are not. Because in the end, respect is not given to the loud. It's given to the consistent. It's not earned by force. It's earned by example. Live in such a way that even those who dislike you can't help but respect you. That's real power. And it never has to chase anything. Lesson 6. Use disrespect as a mirror, not a measure. Disrespect is never pleasant. It stings, it offends, it triggers something deep inside you. But before you let it define your mood or your worth, take a step back and understand this. Disrespect says far more about the person giving it than the person receiving it. When someone disrespects you, they're not revealing your weakness. They're exposing their own character. You cannot control the way people treat you, but you can always control what you take from it. And if you're wise, you'll use every act of disrespect as a mirror, a reflection that teaches you something about yourself, about others, and about life. You'll see who truly values you and who only values what you can give them. You'll learn when to engage and when to walk away. You'll learn that not everyone deserves access to you. When people speak down to you, it's often because they're wrestling with their own insecurity. They see something in you that reminds them of what they lack. Small minds criticize what they can't understand. Weak hearts attack what they can't control. So instead of taking disrespect personally, Start seeing it as evidence of what you're doing right. You're shaking something in them, something they haven't yet faced within themselves. But here's the key. You must not let their behavior lower your standards. The danger of disrespect is not in hearing it, it's in absorbing it. If you start to believe the lies, if you start to mirror their bitterness, you lose the lesson and take on the poison. When you use disrespect as a mirror, you reflect, but you don't absorb. You look at what happened, you learn from it, and you move on stronger. Ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me? Maybe it's showing you that you've been too forgiving. Maybe it's revealing that you've allowed certain people too much access to your peace. Maybe it's simply a test to see whether you'll rise above or sink to their level. Either way, if you look for the lesson, disrespect loses its power to hurt you. Some of the best growth you'll ever experience will come from moments that made you deeply uncomfortable. The pain of being underestimated, ignored, or disrespected often becomes the fuel that pushes you toward your purpose, but only if you refuse to let it make you bitter. You don't grow by matching other people's disrespect. You grow by mastering your response to it. The world is a reflection. What you give out, you get back. What you focus on, you attract more of. If you keep focusing on who disrespected you, you'll see disrespect everywhere. But if you focus on your growth, your peace, and your purpose, the noise around you begins to fade. Never use disrespect as a measure of your worth. Use it as a mirror that reveals where you stand and where you need to go next. Use it to sharpen your awareness, not to dull your spirit. Use it to remind yourself that not everyone can see your value, and that's okay. The only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold about yourself. When you know your worth, disrespect becomes background noise. Irritating, yes, but powerless to change your direction. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't let it break you. Let it guide you. Let it remind you of who you are and what you stand for. Use it as a mirror to grow wiser, stronger, and calmer. Because once you start using disrespect as a teacher instead of a wound, you'll stop feeling offended and start feeling unstoppable. Lesson 7. Protect your peace. That's where real power lives. Peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Without peace, your mind can't think clearly, your emotions can't stabilize, and your energy becomes scattered. You can have all the talent, ambition, and intelligence in the world, but if you constantly let people and situations disturb your peace, you'll never be able to use any of it effectively. Protecting your peace isn't about isolation, it's about preservation. It's learning when to engage, when to ignore, and when to walk away for the sake of your own clarity. Every time someone disrespects you, they're not just challenging your pride, they're testing your peace. And if you react to every insult, every rumor, every jab, you'll spend your life exhausted, chasing validation from people who thrive on chaos. Your peace is your power. The calmer you are, the clearer you think. The clearer you think, the stronger you become. When you lose your peace, you lose direction. You start making decisions from anger, from ego, from impulse. But when you guard your peace, you make decisions from wisdom. You see situations for what they really are, not for what your emotions tell you they are. Peace gives you perspective, and perspective gives you control. Protecting your peace means being selective, Not everyone deserves your attention, your energy, or your access. You can't expect calmness while surrounding yourself with noise. You can't expect focus while constantly engaging in drama. Peace requires removing the things, habits, and people that keep pulling you into confusion. It's not about being better than anyone else, it's about being better for yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for choosing peace over chaos. Some will call you distant or cold. That's fine. They don't understand that you're not avoiding people. You're avoiding poison. You're not running away. You're protecting your mind. Because peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of self-control. It's your ability to stay steady when everything around you is shaking. When you protect your peace, you start to see how unnecessary most arguments are. You realize how many battles are just traps designed to steal your focus. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing closure from people who never offered honesty. You stop trying to be heard in rooms that were never built to understand you. Not everything needs your reaction. Sometimes silence, distance, or a quiet smile is the most powerful response you can give. You don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you're choosing strength over ego. Peace also brings power because it gives you space to grow. When your mind isn't cluttered with anger or resentment, creativity flows. Ideas come, solutions appear. You become more patient, more focused, and more in control of your life. That's why keeping your peace is not weakness, it's strategy. It's how you maintain strength in a world that profits from distraction. So protect your peace, even if it means disappointing people. Protect your peace, even if it means walking away from places you've outgrown. Protect your peace, even if it means being misunderstood for a while. Because nothing is worth losing your clarity, your dignity, or your inner stability. Your peace is the foundation of your power. Lose it, and you lose everything. Guard it, and you can handle anything. When you stop giving energy to what disturbs you and start investing it in what develops you, that's when you truly take back control of your life. Because in the end, peace isn't found. It's created. It's chosen. It's protected. One boundary, one decision, one calm breath at a time.